Welcome to Flip Devotional, the podcast, where each week Martha Shannon, the author of Flip Devotional, the book, and Steve Shannon discuss the readings from the week. If you haven't gotten Flip Devotional, the book, it's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, also available on Barnes & Noble as an ebook. All right. I don't know. I think that's it. That's all the hoopla I'm going to give this time. We are doing the readings from July 7th through July 13th. I think we have added Panama. I think that's our newest location to our podcast. So welcome, Panama. That's kind of exciting. And we haven't gotten any fan mail yet. So you and I are still at 0 of being mentioned in fan mails.
Well, I think I probably got a lot. You're just not telling me.
Well, you can keep thinking that. But here we go. July. So July has kind of I think, a fun theme. All of them start out with, did you hear the one about? And the reason I did this for a whole month was sometimes people go, the Bible's boring, or there's nothing exciting in it, or it's just, and they are really just coming up with reasons to not read the Bible.
Correct.
But so for the whole month of July, I've pulled stories that some stories are a verse. Some stories are ones that people go, okay, that's weird, and they just move on. But I think they're interesting. I think they're kind of fun, kind of different, some kind of funky stuff going on. So there you go.
And it kind of shows the whole breadth of God.
Yeah.
Some of these stories are fun. Some are a little bit quirky. So maybe God's a little bit fun and a little bit quirky as well.
Okay. Well, if you look at some people around us, he's fun and quirky.
Correct. She looks at me. I'll probably hear about that when I get to heaven. Excuse, come here. Can we talk fun and quirky?
All right, here we go. July 7th is Judges 4:14 through 20, and this is about a woman named Jael. Jael.
And Deborah gets mentioned. So this is an Old Testament story where two women are highlighted.
They are the main characters.
They are the main characters. Yeah.
Definitely. And actually, July 8th is the rest of the story. So July 7th and 8th is Judges 4, starting with 14, and then July 8th ends in verse 24. So it's the whole story. Deborah was a prophet.
Correct.
And Barak was a
soldier.
Okay. And
he was head of the army.
And she goes to him and says, okay, you need to go. God's with you. You are going to defeat Sisera. Sisera? I guess that's how you say it.
Sisera. He was the leader of the enemy army.
Okay. And so they go on, and Barak is kind of like, a little hesitant.
Right.
And he wants Deborah to go with them.
Yes, he does. That happens beforehand. He wants Deborah to be there. And at some point, Deborah says, well, Sisera will be delivered to the hands of a woman.
Yes.
Not you.
Yes.
So,
yes.
That's really not typical. And I suspect Barak thought it would be Deborah.
Absolutely. That was my thoughts, too. So they go. Barak is pursuing them. And Sisera's troops fell by the sword. So already his army is pretty much gone.
Yeah, the Lord routed Sisera. Not even close, right? kind of the mercy rule. They would stop the game after 3 innings in T-ball.
Right.
So
But Sisera got away.
yes, yeah.
So he's running on foot, and he comes up to Jael,
Right.
and she's the wife of Heber,
Uh-huh.
and she has a tent.
They all lived in tents. A lot of people did.
And he comes up there, and he feels like this is a safe place
Right.
because he has an alliance with
Right.
Heber.
The king. Yeah.
So he thinks this is a safe place. Jael sees him and says, "Come on in.
Come on. Yeah.
Don't be afraid," although he really should have been afraid.
He should have been paying a lot more attention.
And he comes in, and she covers him with a blanket. He says, "I'm thirsty. Please give me some
And he
water."
wanted water and gave him milk.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's profound or not, but
Well, I wonder if, they say if you drink warm milk.
it helps you sleep.
Yeah.
That could be it. Right?
So I wondered if that was it. And then he says, "Stand in the doorway, like to protect me, because I'm going to sleep." 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm
and
just
lie if
so
someone
tired.
comes.
Yes.
Tell them
Yeah.
no one's here.
So that's July 7th.
So that kind of sets the stage for which is coming the fun and quirky part. Right?
Yes. Yeah. So Jael, he goes to sleep, and then she picks up a tent peg and a hammer.
Right. And I think it's important to remember that if you've gone camping and you got a 2 or 4 person tent, the tent peg is probably 6 inches long, right? These tents were houses. They were big. So the tent peg may have been 2 to 3 feet long. May have been really big
Wow.
to hold up the whole tent. Kind of like if you go someplace and they have a tent set up, you see the ones they have, they're really large. So it was probably something of that size.
Right.
So it's just not, like a nail or a big nail. This is a big piece of iron.
So she went quietly to him while he lay fast asleep, exhausted,
Yeah.
and drove the peg through the temple into the ground.
And he died. Yes.
That's the part I put. Is that necessary to say?
Well, you just want to make sure in case, something weird happened. So every time I've read this story, I can only think of those old games we had at kids with the spinner, where it's in the middle and you kind of flick it with your thing and it comes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking of that as what takes place. And I always think she could have done that with Sisera. Spun him.
Oh.
like that.
That's awful.
But it is pretty visual.
Okay. All
Right?
right. Yeah.
Could have done that to Sisera,
And then Barak comes by.
Correct.
He's still trying to find him.
Yeah.
And Jael comes up. Come here.
Come here.
I know who you're looking for.
Let me show you the man you're looking for.
And he went in and saw Sisera with the tent peg through his temple, dead.
Dead.
Again.
Making sure
Dead.
there's no confusion about his status.
Oh, my goodness. So that's the story of Jael.
Jail, whatever you want. But again, in 2 days, Old Testament, right? Deborah, who really, there's a song to Deborah coming up. If you kept reading Judges, she was considered the leader, and Jael kills the general of the enemy. I mean, it's a pretty big deal of what takes place where, 2 women, and it's also kind of fun, think about. And, it also, like Jael knew what to do.
Well, that's what I was thinking. What worries me is, one, she doesn't seem like she's nervous or hesitant or afraid to do this. It's like she had a plan
Right. Yeah.
and had a spare tent peg lying around.
And a hammer.
Well, the hammer, could understand that because they may have
Yeah.
used it, and you're just going to put it there in your toolbox till you're ready to use it again. So the hammer doesn't surprise me as much as, had a spare tent peg lying around.
Yeah. And I would also think, and I don't know this, did she help put the tent up initially? But she knew exactly what to do, had a plan. And the answer is, if you focus on God, you can do whatever.
This is true.
Right.
This is true. But I think putting the tent peg through, you have to be pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can't.
Yes.
You know how I put a nail in sometimes and I
Right.
miss.
Yeah.
And I mean, she can't miss and hit him in the head, and then him wake up, and then her try to put the tent peg through. She's got to hit correctly the first time.
She's got to go through the temple.
Get it at least halfway through with the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think these are all conversations
This
I've
is
had.
why it's a fun story.
This is a fun story. And it's a story of a victory for the Israelites
And women.
and women, and a large tent peg through a temple. It has
Yeah.
all the best parts of a story.
It does. It really does.
But, I've never seen this acted out.
True.
I mean, it'd be a great, summer camp,
Yep. Yeah.
Bible study.
Yep. I agree.
All
There you go. All right. July 9th, July 10th are also a combo.
Yeah.
Because these were kind of long stories. The
Yeah.
jail one, you don't want it to go straight to, she picked up a tent peg and hammered it through his head. Like, what? Huh?
Right. You need some background.
Yeah. And when I wrote this, I didn't expect to do a podcast and explain it all, or maybe I would have just done that much. But I wanted you readers to know kind of what was going on.
Yeah.
So July 9th and 10th are about Mephibosheth,
Mephibosheth, correct.
which was Saul's grandson.
And Jonathan's son.
Yes.
And Jonathan and David were really, really close friends.
Yes.
Best buds.
Yes. Yeah. So
And,
go ahead. You tell us about this one.
And David goes to Saul's household, a servant, Ziba. Is there any descendant of Saul still alive? Right? Because Saul picked David. Saul, it became a very complicated relationship. Saul thought David was threatening to him, and he was, but it wasn't David that made it threatening. So the servant Ziba says Jonathan, who would have gotten David's attention right away, has a son, and is always who's lame in both feet. I think the story is he was dropped as a child. I think that happened early on when they were escaping, when they were under attack. But anyway, so he's lame in both feet. And so King David says, well, bring him to me. So at the end of July 9th, Mephibosheth comes to David, right? And probably not knowing what to expect, knowing that his grandfather, Saul, had tried to kill David on several occasions, right? So what's going to happen?
Yeah,
So-
because he does apparently come kind of afraid.
yes.
But at this point, I don't know I don't know where David is in his life. I'm thinking he's kind of has been king. He's fought. He's kind of in the peaceful time, and he was like, hey, gosh, I remember Jonathan and
I remember Saul.
and I wish there was something I could do.
Yeah.
Is there anyone?
anybody?
Yeah.
And way back when, David showed up with Goliath, and that's where he first, he was going to go fight. Saul was there. And they could,
Right.
And later on, when Saul would get angry, they needed someone to play a harp.
And David
David
did that.
did that. So that there's a relationship there, right? And at some point, Saul was told, your descendants will not be king. because he didn't wait on the prophet to offer a sacrifice or something before battle. So Saul chased David, tried to kill David, and David, so all that stuff happened. So Mephibosheth would have known that history and would have been afraid of maybe David's going to take out his anger at my grandfather on me. So he shows up on July 10th. That is not what happened. And it had to be a real concern because the first thing David said to him is, don't be afraid. Mm-hmm. I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father, Jonathan, right?
Yeah. So maybe not for the sake of Saul, but
Not for
for
Saul.
Jonathan.
Yeah, but he did have anyone in Saul's family, right? So he was clearly interested, and that goes on, and he bows down, whatever your servant, that you should notice a dead dog like me, meaning I'm not of any value. I'm not, So the king's son Ziba, and this is another fun story, and it shows how David is committed to Jonathan and cares about his son. But he then tells Ziba, right, I'm giving your master's grandson that belongs to all the stuff that belongs to Saul and his family. You and your son or your servants are supposed to take care of that, right? So here's your job. You're no longer going to be hanging around, the king, right, at his court. And he says Mephibosheth will always eat at my table. So Mephibosheth doesn't go to the farm that he now has, but Ziba, with his 20 sons and 20 servants, goes and farms his thing, and that's what supports Mephibosheth for the rest of his life. Apparently, I don't know that. That's what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. But he and Mephibosheth stayed in Jerusalem and ate every meal at the king's table, which is quite an honor, obviously.
Well, it says like one of the king's sons.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So he was, took care of him as honoring his father and even his grandfather, right? And again, he always ate at the king's table. He was lame in both feet.
Yeah. Had to repeat that again.
Yeah, and also speaks to how they perceive people with disabilities probably 3,000 years ago, right? But David honored it,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So, I
And
mean,
again, is David on the Mount Rushmore?
yeah.
Before we're done, we're going to have to come up with our own Mount Rushmore.
Well, David was a man after God's own heart. How can he not be on Mount Rushmore?
A little deal with, Bathsheba.
God didn't take it away.
Right, okay.
He didn't say, you're no longer a man after my own heart.
Correct. Okay. We'll give you that one. I could agree with David. So that's it. So again, another story. The insight to God is he did pick David, and David was who God said he was.
Yeah. And without this story, you don't know Mephibosheth.
Right. Which is a sequence of letters which is very hard for me to say.
It is hard. All right, July 11th. I like this story personally. This is Gideon.
Uh-huh.
And Gideon was, do you already have this? In Judges 6.
Oh, he's the guy that questioned God. God called him. And he said, well, I got this piece of fleece handy. Can we leave it out overnight?
Yeah.
And if
We've done that story.
Yeah.
But just the Judges 6:15 says, "Pardon me, my Lord, but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." So.
Yeah, the weakest of Manasseh.
Manasseh, okay. And
Yeah.
so
again,
the weakest, and he's the least. So it's like as low as you can get.
correct. Why did and for some people, why would you have Jael, a woman, kill Sisera, right? This is very similar. You are the last person people think would be the leader of Israel, right? Mm-hmm. And when he first interacts with God, he is threshing or doing something where he typically isn't done there. It's either threshing his wheat on a wine press or something, right? Hiding, but God calls him.
Yeah, yeah.
And to Gideon's credit, he listened and acted, right?
Yeah, and we're going to see he and his army are victorious.
Correct.
And so if you are one who just feel like, you're the weakest, you're the least, there's so many other people who have gifts and talents more than you. It's like, God don't care about that.
No. And I was trying to remember, from God's perspective, the strongest of the biggest tribe to the weakest of the smallest tribe is a relatively insignificant measure, in my opinion, from God's perspective.
Right.
Because the strongest of the biggest tribe is nothing compared to the heavenly angels, nothing compared to him or Jesus, right? So it seems huge to us, but not huge to God.
And this story just goes to show that God prefers to fight with fewer, perhaps with the weakest and the least, because the point is to put attention on God, not the person,
right.
not the massive army. Because Gideon starts out with 32,000 men.
Right.
To fight. And God comes and says, you got too many. If you all go and fight and win, it says Israel would boast against me. And again, that's not the point. The point is for the glory to go to God.
Yes.
So God says, let's weed people out. He says, if anyone is afraid, tell them to go back home. And I can just see it's 32,000 people, and Gideon goes, okay, is anyone afraid? Raise your hand, and you can go home. And bam, 22,000.
Leave.
They're like, I'm afraid. All right, you can go home. Like, okay, now we have 10,000. God says,
too many.
Too many. Let's thin them out. And he has them go down to the water.
Well, first of all, it's 10,000 men at the water. Right?
Right.
That's a lot of men hanging around the water.
Yeah, it must have been a lot of water. And, I don't know. Did they just say, all right, everyone go down, get a drink. Those of you who are left, let's go down, get a drink before we head out.
Right.
Okay. And they either would lap the water with their tongues like a dog.
Yeah, so they scoop it in their hands, right? And like a dog. Or they got down and into the water and drank it that way, right? Now, one thing I was told years ago, if you get down on a knee and scoop water and drink it like a dog out of your hand, you can still be looking around you. So you can see what's happening around you. Where if you get down to the water's edge and essentially put your face in and, kind of drink water that way, you can't see what's happening around you.
Gotcha.
So did Gideon end up, and again, he went from 32,000 to 300.
Yeah.
And there's no way. And he had the 300 to start. They were part of the 32,000. I'm sure Gideon, and to his credit, he said, okay, I will go fight the enemy with 300 men. Mm-hmm. Even if they really know how to drink and watch, there's still 300.
Yeah.
So they sent home 31,700. And they sent home 9,700 men who admitted to not being afraid. Mm-hmm. I'll stay and fight. I'm not afraid. And then you got 300.
Yep.
And what happens with the 300?
Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
Because we didn't put the rest of the story on here. But you can guess what happened.
He won. He prevailed.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Of course he did, because that was the plan.
Yes, it was God's plan, right? And again, God doesn't need Gideon and the 300 men. He wants Gideon and the 300 men.
And he could have done it with Gideon and the 32,000.
He could have, yes, correct. But he knew man's heart. And they would have been, oh, we're victorious, oh, look what we did, as opposed to, oh my gosh, we showed up with 300 men.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, pretty cool.
All right. July 12th is another one of my favorite stories. We have Elisha and his servant, and
Who never gets named.
does he not?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll ponder that. So Elisha it's the prophet. We've heard about him.
Correct. Axe head.
Yep. Yep. Which was what, last week or
Yeah.
something?
Elijah, he kind of was, he attached himself to Elijah. I'm not sure Elijah with the J really wanted Elisha, but he was there, right?
Mm-hmm. So he is, help me out, what's,
The king of Aram.
oh,
He summoned his officers, demanded, tell me, which is the side of the king of Israel? Which of us is on? And they found out that Elisha was telling the king of Israel, because the king of Aram thought it was his guys, kind of being a spy. He said, no, it's Elisha. He tells the king, every word you speak in your bedroom. How does he know that? We don't know, right? But he said, all right, go out and find where he is. So they find out where he is. And
so the king's trying to kill.
the king wants him dead, because
Yeah.
the king wants to defeat Israel, but the king of Israel knows what this king of Aram's doing, right? So, because Elisha supposedly tells him.
Right.
So he's there. So that night they surround the city, right? And the servant, again, we're looking for his name, but the servant, Elisha's servant, looks up and says, we're in trouble.
Right.
We're surrounded. What's going to happen to us, right?
Yep.
You know. And Elisha, don't be afraid. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them, right? So the people on our side are better, or what's on our side is better than what's on their side. And the servant sees all of King Aram's army up in the mountains, right? They're surrounded. What are they going to do, right?
I'm sure he's thinking, Elisha, there's no one out there.
Right.
It's all of them against us,
Yeah.
and we're in trouble here.
And whoever else is hanging out in Dothan with them, but not an army, right?
Right.
So at that point, Elisha prays. It says, dear God, open up my servant's eyes. Let him see, right? Mm-hmm. And the servant looks up, and what does he see?
He sees horses and chariots and
Chariots of fire
yes.
all around Elisha, right? Which Elisha could see, and now the servant sees it, right? They're now saying, oh, I'm sure the servant thinking, ooh, okay,
I know.
we're good.
I love that story so much because we have God around us all the time.
Yes.
Protecting us, being there. We're not there alone. And sometimes we need to say, God, open up my eyes.
Let me see, right?
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And the hills were full of horses and chariots of fire. So I don't know if they were horses of fire and chariots of fire, but they're both, right? But just the idea, that's what they see, right?
And you remember the Elijah went up to heaven in a chariot of fire.
Yes.
So Elisha has seen a chariot of fire before.
Yeah.
And yeah, there they are.
Yeah. So obviously, they feel pretty good about their situation.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Again, and the story is maybe we have to ask God to let us see what he's doing. And he may let us see what he's doing, right? Mm-hmm. You know, I've said here before, God doesn't have a calendar. He doesn't have a phone, doesn't have a watch, right? But let us see, right?
Yeah.
And God might just let you see what the plan is or some idea. And maybe you don't get to see the plan, but you get to see, I got this. I got this, right?
Yeah. The other day I was thinking about God and how we wish we knew and saw, you know, what's going to happen. I thought it's like when you're watching a movie and you're anticipating what's going to happen next and you're wondering what's going to happen next, and you know you're going through all that, but it doesn't matter because the movie's already planned.
Yes.
It's already out there, and you just have to wait
Yeah.
for the next thing to happen.
Yes.
And you can see if you were right or not, but it's kind of like what following God is. He's out there doing it, and we're really just sitting there watching
Yeah.
because God's always the one doing all the work. We're just there following along, and every once in a while, he's like, okay, you can do this part. It's like, woohoo, okay.
Yeah.
But you just got to watch and wait and
Right.
kinda see what comes up next.
Sometimes
and
you got to be still, right?
all the time you need to be still.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, and people laugh at this about what I do. If I'm reading a novel,
Yes.
when I get close to the end, I'll go to the last 3 or 4 pages and read the last 3 or 4 pages before I get there. Because I want to know how it ends before I invest any more time in it. Right?
Yeah, you can't do that with life.
No, I can't, and it's unfair. I should be able to. But, you know, we don't get to do that with God, but we need to have the confidence, right, of Elisha, who I guess saw them, but didn't really say that, right? Elisha had the faith that God's going to take care of this. Open his eyes so he can see.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah. Okay. I've been looking this whole time through 1st and 2nd Kings, trying to find, because somewhere there's a story, and so I don't even know why I'm going to share this because I don't have the answer. But somewhere there's the story of it's either Elijah or Elisha, and and his servant, and someone comes to, well, I don't know if it's Elisha or Elijah. I think it's Elisha, and says, "I will give you like all these things," and he's trying to win him over, kind of really trying to trick him a little bit. And Elisha says, no, I'm not going to take any of that. And so the guy leaves without giving him. And then his servant says, oh, we should have taken that. So his servant runs out to him and says, hey, so he thought about it and decided he wants it after all. So he gives it to him, and then Elisha, of course, knows what he did. And it says he would have a leprosy.
Yes.
And I was trying to find that because it has the name of the servant in
Well,
that
this servant
story.
is Gehazi, who ultimately...
Where is it?
I think it's 2 Kings.
Can you
That's
be
all
more
I got.
Okay.
Nope, I can't.
All right.
But it's interesting, but he was disgraced, I think, when Naaman was cured of leprosy or something. So I don't know if it's this servant is that servant or not.
Okay.
I don't know. But
All
there
right.
is a server that gets named.
Thank you.
You get full points for that.
Full or 4?
You decide.
Full. I'm going with full. Okay, I'll stop looking. We'll move on. Sorry about the delay.
It's good.
Oh,
It's good.
It's just, it's somewhere in my head in partiality.
Yeah, and
And,
it could be this Gehazi guy.
Yep.
And it could be that where he's overcome with greed, right? 2 talents of silver, 2 valuable robes, something like that, from Naaman. And that could have happened afterwards.
Yes. Yes.
So this happened before. We'll give him credit. All right, the 13th.
Okay, July 13th. This is one of those stories that you go, how? How
Yes.
did he do this? And there's only one way. God put some spell, something over the foxes, because this is crazy. So this is Samson.
Correct.
And everyone has heard of Samson.
I would hope so.
Samson and Delilah.
Samson, Delilah, correct.
They're in a song, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So Samson, there was kind of a mix-up, and Samson left, and because he left, his wife's father thought he was gone, and so he gave her to someone else.
Correct.
So Samson comes back to be with his wife.
Yes,
and-
exactly.
And her father is like, so there's a problem because she's someone else's wife now.
That's a problem.
And Samson was upset.
Yes.
And the father offers
Other daughter.
her younger sister, who was more attractive. So even in the Bible, back in Judges, back in the Old Testament, so many years ago, looks,
We're priority.
yeah, it's like,
Not good.
women have fought this.
Forever.
Yes. Yes, we had Leah and Rachel.
Rachel,
Leah had weak eyes.
some funky eye thing
We
happened.
don't know what that means. But obviously, Rachel, they were sisters. Rachel was more attractive. And Jacob,
Uh-huh.
is that who married?
Yeah.
And he ended up with Leah first. And,
Work 7 more years, you get Rachel.
yeah. And we've done that story too, but still.
But yeah.
Yeah, this is terrible. She's more attractive. Don't you want her? And Samson's like, no. And he said, this time I have a right to get even with the Philistines. Now, this is a problem because with kids, you are constantly telling them it's not about getting even, it's forget, that type of thing. And here we have Samson in the Bible getting even.
Getting even. I can get even now. Right. Because earlier, he had the riddle
Yes.
out of something sweet, and he told Delilah the answer, who told the other person the answer. So he had to go give them 7 suits of clothing, right? He went and killed 7 Philistines and took their clothes. And I guess people thought he didn't have a right to do that. This time Samson says, I can be angry, right?
Yeah.
So what he does, and again, he had to do this with God, but still, he thought of this on his own. Like he had this ready to go if he ever needed it. He captured 300 foxes. Okay? 300. Captured them. Foxes are quick, sly as a fox, right? 300. He then, and I like it when he captured 300, and then a lot of questions. Did he capture 300 at once? Was there a fox convention going on and he locked the doors? Or he caught 2, 3, 4 at a time and put them someplace so they stayed, right? But then, so he has them, and then he ties them in pairs by the tail, a piece of leather, tying their tails together, right?
Oh, yeah?
Well, he ties them. I don't think he ties their actual tails, right?
Oh, see,
But he
now
tied them tail to tail.
I've always envisioned this as he tied the tails together.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. We have a German Shepherd, Booker. Her tail doesn't bend.
Now,
We had two Great Danes. Their tails don't
well,
bend.
they don't bend, but it's floppy, like a shoelace, like.
It's not like a shoelace. It's
We're
like
going to
the
go home and see if we can tie Booker's
tail.
tail to something.
Yeah, it's a galley's tail. But anyway, so I always thought, regardless, he gets them, and really in this whole sequence of events, how they're tied together, in my opinion, he ties them together, and somehow he does that. And again, it's like killing 600 Philistines with an ox goad. Wouldn't the foxes start getting unhappy and carrying on? And
Yeah, see, that's where God had to have done something.
yes. And then he does that, but then he goes back, and this is great planning by him. He had sufficient ways, he had a way to tie them together. He had at least 150 torches,
Yeah.
right? And then he sets the torches on fire, right?
Well, he fastens them to the tail,
Yes.
and then he lights them.
Yeah, well, you don't want to be messing with the tails.
sequencing.
Yeah, you don't. Sorry, my bad. Yes. So they're attached. Then he lights them, and he turns them loose, right? Mm-hmm. He burns up the shocks and the surrounding grain. He burns up the vineyards and the olive grove. I mean, he reached financial and natural disaster on the Philistines because of this wife situation.
Yeah.
But if you think about the logistics, he had to do this close to where the grain was, and the vineyards, and the olive groves.
And how do you have 150 torches?
He's a planner. Yeah.
It's crazy. And if he tied them together with leather or whatever, he had enough of that.
Yeah, he had extra. And
the 300 foxes. It's just.
Let's go back to Isaac
What?
going up to the mountain to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
They carried with them fire.
Right.
That was pointed out. Well,
Right.
Samson had to have fire.
Right.
He didn't have a Zippo lighter.
Right.
He had some way to ignite something to burn on the torches.
Right.
So he had all this stuff figured out.
I think that was the easiest part, is to have fire. One little thing of fire.
But still, he carried all this stuff. He had it put over here, maybe up on a shelf, so the foxes wouldn't bother it. And he waits till he has 300 foxes. That must be 150 pairs. Must be the minimum to reach this disaster. I don't know. I think it's just a wonderful story about Samson, right? Who came to a pretty bad ending, right? But it's still remarkable what he did.
I think it just shows that if God is with you,
No one can be against you.
you absolutely could do anything. You can do this. What was the other story we had? I guess maybe it was the ox.
Shamgar, the ox guard.
Yeah, again, that was just, I mean, these stories are, okay, you know what some people would say? They say, it's not true.
Right.
They just made that up. It's not true. But I believe it's in the Bible. It's true.
Well, right. And I think you have to approach the Bible as this is true and Shamgar's true, because if this story with the foxes and Samson isn't true, why is the resurrection of Jesus true? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Why is God created in 7 days true? Right? You can't pick and choose what you want to believe is true in the Bible.
Right, exactly.
You can do a lot of different things. You can work it through and try to rationalize it, but if you say, well, that's not true, right? Now, at some point we'll read parables, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus said this is a parable. And
Right.
It's a story designed
it's
to
not
teach.
true.
It's
Right.
not true. It's a story designed to teach.
Right.
So we know that. But this is a situation where it never said, I got this great story about this dude, Samson. It's not true, but I just really want to tell you the story.
Right, right.
But regardless. And, this week, JL is a great story, right? David's compassion with Mephibosheth, another great story. I still think Gideon's up there with all,
Oh,
I got 32,000 soldiers. Ooh. What, 300?
right.
And think of the other ones leaving. It's
Yeah. Really, all of the stories are with God. You can do anything. It's really not you can
Correct.
do anything, but God can do anything.
and we just need to be open to joining him.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure Samson never doubted that he could pull this off. And I think he just kept tying them together. It was like, okay, this is working. Putting a torch in, lighting it. You guys go on, and I don't know, going to do it till I run out of foxes.
Right.
But yeah, great stories.
Great story. I agree.
Love it, love it.
Yeah, fun.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to this week's Flip Devotional, the podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, download, share with your friends, share with your family. Y'all can read the passages. They are on the podcast site, so you can read the passages if you don't have the book. And then you all can talk about them, see what you can come up with. Or, if you wish, partially act out the JL story. So
Right, yeah.
can say someone did that for Steve, and
Correct.
we can be done with that.
Again, be very careful with your choice of hammer and don't really hit somebody on the head. That'll make our lawyer happy, that disclaimer.
Yeah.